Hello. So, a book that I think is really relevant to the modelling industry is called The Beauty Myth by Naomi Klein. And it's just about how our conception of beauty in this society and in this day and age is quite flawed because we put so much emphasis on physical beauty rather than internal beauty and beauty that originates from the inside with creativity and personality and intelligence. There's just so many things that we overlook in this society, and that's basically what it's explaining. It's not a novel, it's just like kind of a long essay, but it's really eye-opening, and I think it is definitely important in the modelling industry because so often, well, all the time basically, we are told that the only thing that matters is what's on the outside, when in fact that is not the case, and everyone should remember that. No matter who you are or what you look like, it just doesn't matter what is on the outside, because I know it sounds so cliche, but it is what is on the inside that counts. So yeah, The Beauty Myth, a very eye-opening and interesting book.
So one thing I really enjoy doing with my free time is reading. I love getting lost in another world, another character, just their adventure. And it's something I really love to do in between castings, or maybe you're traveling on a bus, or maybe you're at a job and you've got a few hours to spare, or you just never know when you're going to be stuck or when you're going to be asked to wait for a while. And although I enjoy Sudoku and of course I enjoy social media, I find that you can get lost in social media and you get a lot of information and it's not always useful or helpful. But in a book, you get to choose where you want to go, and I just love the endless possibilities that you have. I definitely prefer novels, and as you can see from the previous clip, Nora Roberts is my favourite. I've been reading her books now for over 10 years. I just love them. I love the crime, the drama, the romance in the background, and it's just something I really, really enjoy to do.
I've been quite into poetry recently, which is the perfect thing to read when you're on the go. And one of the last books I've read is this one, which is The Princess Saves Herself in This One by Amanda Lovelace. It's quite a tough read. It deals with grief, abuse, eating disorders, toxic relationships. I know it's sounding amazing, but it's actually really, really good. There are obviously parts I couldn't relate to, but there are others that I was like, oh, a couple of months ago I would have, seen this differently. So I was proud of the moment where I'm in, and it's a tough journey, but I felt it was very empowering too, and I don't know, I was very energized when I finished it. Even though as I said, there are parts that are difficult, so I thoroughly recommend it. I love poetry. I think it's a great way to connect with others and with your feelings, and I don't know, I really thought it was great, so let me know if you read it too.
Because I live in Cork, I have to do a lot of travelling up to Dublin for shoots and jobs, so for me reading is a great way to kill time on the bus without using up my phone battery. There's a plane going off right now. I'm at college, so so some of the books that I love are by Stephen King, because I feel like they make the time go by faster because I'm constantly engaged in the book. So some of my favourites are The Shining, and one that I really want to read is called The Stand. And at the moment I'm reading a book by Donna Tartt called The Goldfinch, and I'm loving that, so I'd really recommend that one. It's a really good one.
Hey guys, so I want to recommend a book to you that's actually part of a trilogy by a guy called Patrick Ness. So the book is actually based on, the protagonist is a young boy, about 13 or so, and he's born into this civilization that has been established on a different planet for a couple of hundred years. So humans had come here and not giving away too much. So essentially there was a disease on the planet that they all caught, which made everyone be able to hear each other's thoughts. And I won't delve into anything too much, but let me just tell you that this has honestly been the most riveting trilogy of books I've ever read, and the imagery still lasts with me years after reading it, and just the descriptive writing in it is absolutely unreal. So it's a book the three books are something I'd absolutely recommend. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy to show you because they're all borrowed out, but highly recommended. So it's, you know, again, it's a kind of a sci-fi story, all right, well, without giving away too much. So thanks.
So my book recommendation is Fallen Glory by James Crawford, and my degree is in architecture, so it's kind of an architecture book, but it's not just for architects. If you're a bit of a nerd and you like a good read, it's all about the lives and deaths of the world's greatest lost buildings, and they're from the Tower of Babel in Iraq to the Twin Towers in New York. And it charts all the political context and intrigue surrounding the building and their fall as well. It's so interesting. Bit of a history lesson as well. And I just get caught up in the stories surrounding how these buildings came about.
Hey guys, so this is my little reading corner. I read quite a lot, I love it. It's really relaxing, so I made a little corner here with all my books down there. And I sneak in here whenever I'm free and I just want to read. So my biggest recommendation is I Am Pilgrim. It's super exciting. It's a really great book, really great story. I can't show you because I lent it out to a friend, which happens all the time because I love it so much. So whenever I'm in the train or to a job or whatever, I always have a book in my bag. Now it's this one, Eat and Run. I train for a marathon again. So whenever I'm doing that, I read a lot about runners that are like the best, for extra motivation and inspiration. So I really like those. And other books I read are mostly like educational, like this China study, which is about a big study about health, diet, blah blah blah. So yeah, my biggest recommendation, I Am Pilgrim. Go read it.
So book that I really enjoyed about modelling actually is so I read it on a Kindle version, so I don't have like the physical book, although I have a nice stack of physical books. So I have actually found on Google, they have the Google Books ebook version of it, and it's Ashley Mears Pricing Beauty. It's really interesting. So basically she was going to do a PhD in NYU and she was scouted as she was starting. So then her PhD was actually doing sociological research undercover as a model. So she interviewed casting directors, agents, other models, and then wrote it up into this really brilliant book. It's really interesting. Actually was arranging a debate in the HIST, which is Trinity College's debating society, and we had her come over to speak, as well as Carol White from Premier Model Management in London. And it was really interesting to kind of understand the economics of the industry as well, rather than just kind of like, you know, the aesthetics of it or whatever. And one of the kind of big things I thought was really interesting was how with one of the things it's like a winner takes all markets. It's actually very similar to being a model, is quite similar to being a sports person. There's a few people who do really well at the top, but then a lot of people who don't really break through. And the other thing as well was how much kind of the arbitrary nature of it comes into play. So agents will kind of have to, and casting directors will actually push people to kind of create this like sense of mystique and aura around them, that, you know, kind of doing well or not, it's sort of subject to like chance and the support that you get. I thought it was really interesting, and it's a really good book. Like she it's written, even though it's kind of from a PhD and it is very serious research, it's written in a very easy, accessible way. And I think it's often because modeling is quite a disparate industry, you don't always really know when you're working by yourself, you don't always have so much information, so it's really interesting to kind of understand that really well. And another, actually, not to kind of go too off topic, but another thing that I really liked then was Sarah Ziff, who founded the Model Alliance, who's a model who was a model based in New York, and she did an amazing documentary as well on the industry, and again it gave that kind of like insight, which is quite hard to find sometimes.
So when we get booked for a catwalk show or a live TV programme like Ireland AM, they usually book us a lot earlier than we're actually needed to go on stage, so there's a lot of time waiting around backstage. And for those kind of days I do like to have a book in my bag with me. And the book I would recommend to bring is The Lake by Sheena Lambert. This is a mystery novel and it's by an Irish writer, and I think it's very important that we support all of our Irish creatives, not just in the fashion industry, so that's why I'm recommending this book. It has a brilliant ending, a big surprise at the end, and it also has little pieces of Irish humour throughout it.